thanks for joining us ahead of tomorrow's game at Salisbury. Firstly, looking back on Tuesday night, what did you take from the game?
I think the real positive was obviously not only the result, was seeing players that needed some minutes, needed some game time, get through it. It was disappointing obviously to lose Kings with the injury, which is really frustrating for us and for the lad himself. But you know, mostly pleased with the result, pleased with the application of the lads, and yeah, no, it was a good win for us, and it keeps that momentum, it keeps that belief for the players to keep going.
Obviously, Tuesday night saw two under-18s make their debuts for the club. It's important to have that pathway in place, and also Zach also scoring.
Yeah, no, it's massive. I think, especially for clubs like us who want to be that, who want to introduce the youth system and make sure we use it, and there's a lot of quality out there. So, not really pleased that we can use them, but also that they're good enough to play. And you know, great for Zach as well. You know, as goal scorers or as centre forwards, you want to try and score, don't you, as early as you possibly can. So you know, he's extremely pleased with that. I know he'd be really proud of himself, and rightly so. And hopefully that's the incentive and the springboard for Zach to continue on his progression and continue being in and around the first team squad.
Obviously, now looking ahead to tomorrow's game, what do we expect from Salisbury?
Listen, they're a good team, well managed, well coached. They like to play, so it's going to be, you know, whenever you go to Salisbury, it's always a tough game, and we don't expect anything different. We know it's going to be a tough game, but you know, let's hope that they feel us coming in. It'll be a tough game for them as well, and we as a group of players and staff, we've got to make sure that we do that. So I've got every faith that the players will be up for the game, and you know, it's a game that we look forward to. We're excited to play in, and you know, we can't wait to get there and play the game.
Obviously, you rested a few players on Tuesday night, and how have the last couple of days been with training with them back in the fold?
Good, you know, it's been Saturday, Tuesday for quite a while now, longer than I can think about. So I think we felt it was going to be beneficial and important for some of the players to recharge the batteries a little bit, have a little bit of a freshen up, and they did that. And you know, the last couple of days has been good, it's been enjoyable, and you know, we're leading into the game tomorrow with confidence.
Obviously, you mentioned Kingsley's injury. Is there any updates you want to provide on maybe the other players?
It's still, I mean, obviously, which we spoke about was from last Saturday, was Harry, which is obviously disappointing. It's a blow. We don't know how Burgee is as well, so we just got to come through them situations and look at it, the positive side of it. That is, obviously, Freddie Carter's not far away from being, well, I know he's back, but because he hasn't played a lot of minutes, we know Freddie's not far away. I think Maxie's not too far away, hopefully. So they're real positives. Matty Roberts has come back, pretty much similar to Fred, really, not really had a lot of game time since he's been here, and a lot of it's been spent on the treatment table, which is unfortunate for him, but somebody's coming back. But obviously we're bitterly disappointed with losing the captain. But listen, one door closes for someone, another one opens for another player, and it's up to another player to come in and step in there and make that position his own, because that's what we need.
And finally, a word on the supporters. Obviously, it's a bit of a journey tomorrow, but their support at the end of the day could be vital.
Massive. I think we've seen in the last, I mean, I can only go off since I've took charge, but it's been so important for us. And I think sometimes when it's, and I'm not saying this funny, when it's not negative and it's quite positive and it's upbeat and it's supporting the players properly, you know, it does generate and it does give the players a lift, and just even that in itself gives everybody a lift, and it makes you want to play well. You shouldn't have to have that, but it also makes you want to play well, and I think there's been a real good atmosphere around playing at home, and obviously the supporters, which were at Hampton on Saturday, were incredible. It felt like a home game for us, so we need that support. You know, it's coming to the nitty gritty now of the end of the season, sort of. Listen, there's 10 games to go in the league, which there's still quite a lot of points to play for, but that, you know, within 2 or 3 weeks that soon dwindles down to like 5 or 6 games left. So we know how important the supporters have been recently. Listen, we know that throughout the season they've had disappointment. That's not what I'm thinking about. I think we've got to try and look for the future instead of the past, and I feel since a couple of weeks the supporters have been really on board with everything we're trying to do, and I think that's resulted in, firstly the plays of, in obviously the tactics and stuff like that, but I think if everybody's collectively together, it doesn't half help trying to get the end goal, which is getting out of the trouble we're in.